Translation: Prasananda Saraswati, however, caught Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally by the hand and seated him with great respect in the midst of the assembly. Look, respectful behaviour of Prasananda Saraswati towards Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very much to be appreciated. Such behaviour is calculated to be a Gata-sakriti, or pious activities that one executes without his knowledge. Thus Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very tactfully gave Prasananda Saraswati an opportunity to advance in a Gata-sakriti, so that in the future he might actually become a Vaishnava sannyasi. So I think that in this verse, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us some very important lessons in his pastime with the Mayavadis. And I think one of the lessons that we learn is that one has to preach according to time, place and circumstance. And we see that. This whole scenario of Vaishnavas versus Mayavadis has been going on for a long time. We see Ramanujacharya, he came in like 1017. And Madhvacharya came in 1238. And they were very, very active in travelling all over India and just smashing the Mayavadi philosophies. And of course, they were just incredibly, just total geniuses. And people were so much attracted to them because of their incredible knowledge. And they just so expertly defeated these Mayavadis. Of course, it does say here in the verse that it can be just a waste of time trying to preach to these Mayavadis. Actually, once we were travelling to Jagannath Puri, it was a whole group of devotees actually from Sydney. It was me and Rupa Raghunath, and I can't remember all the devotees, but there was a whole team of us. And I think it's about an 8 or 10 hour train ride to Jagannath Puri from Navadvip. And there was a Mayavadi sannyasi in our carriage. So we thought, we'll try and defeat this guy, we're pretty learned. But it was impossible. We couldn't actually it is said that these Mayavadis, they're like as slippery as an eel. You try and corner them in one place, and then by their word jugglery, they just twist it round to the Mayavadi philosophy. It was just like, we were like baffled, trying to defeat this guy. So it's, then we see, Raman, and actually Prabhupada said, I think there's, I don't know how many verses, is like a half a dozen verses, maybe only 4 verses in the scriptures that you can use just to defeat their philosophy. And maybe we should learn those verses. But Ramanujacharya, Madhvacharya, even in the early days, devoted people, who were the dropouts of middle class American society, who became the hippies. They were actually, a lot of them were like searching spiritually. And they thought the way to achieve enlightenment is through, drug-expanded consciousness and reading, different esoteric literatures. You can come up with your own cosmic philosophy. And of course, many of those readings were Mayavadi based, and they would come to Prabhupada with these philosophies, and Prabhupada would really, smash them, bring them back to the real Krishna consciousness. Yes, preaching time, place and circumstance. So Lord Caitanya is teaching us that we not only should develop these qualities of tolerance and mercy and humility and compassion, but we also have to use a little bit of intelligence when we're trying to influence people towards Krishna consciousness. We have to have a little bit of tact, a little bit of strategy. You know that saying, in like a needle, out like a plough. You have to have some strategy. Actually, if you look up the word strategy in the dictionary, it says that a strategy is a plan or an action designed to achieve a long-term or overall aim. So when you're preaching to people, you know, and I personally, you know, doing out on book distribution, you meet so many people who met that, you know, in the early days, devotees were very fanatical. And a lot of people, they got completely turned off Krishna consciousness when they met those devotees who were just trying to blast them with the philosophy of Krishna consciousness. So it's not just, not that we just should storm in and fanatically, harshly criticize people, or simply focus on aggressively trying to defeat people. You have this descending mood, you know, trying to get into heated debates with people. You know, rather we see, like Lord Caitanya is teaching us, firstly we should try to perhaps establish a good relationship with people, make friendship with people. You know, creating good relationships with someone often goes further in helping someone become Krishna conscious than simply defeating or exposing their misunderstandings. So, you know, we see that in Lord Chaitanya's preaching. He said, you know, make friends with people, and at the opportune moment, we try and tell them about Krishna consciousness. It means trying to understand the person's needs, then making a positive presentation that they can understand. Not that we just give them too much too soon, or be overly aggressive to the point of, you know, upsetting people or making people feel intimidated. You know, one of the most important teachings of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is that one should, you know, chant the holy name in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself low and strong and street. One should be devoid of all sense of false prestige, and we should be ready to offer respects to others. So Lord Caitanya, by his ideal, as the ideal acharya, you know, playing the role of a pure devotee, he has taught us by his own example that one should always respect others. One should not be going around trying to demand respect for oneself. This is humility. Even, it is said, even if people are not worthy of respect, maybe like these very envious Mayavadis, Krishna is still in their heart as the Paramatma, and therefore a Vaishnava, he pays respects to Krishna who is situated in their hearts, not to their material bodies. But as devotees, of course, we should pay respect to all Vaishnavas, whether they're senior or junior. And, you know, senior devotees, when they come, like sannyasis, and we pay our obeisance to them. But we should understand that in their minds, they've already paid their obeisances and respects to us before we even bow down. And an interesting story, where actually one time Srila Prabhupada was at Bhaktivedanta Manor in London, and there's actually a Mayavadi sannyas. He came to visit Srila Prabhupada. And actually Prabhupada received him very graciously. And they had some discussion. You know, Prabhupada wasn't trying to defeat him or trying to, you know, upset him. He was just very cordial, very friendly. But when that Mayavadi sannyas left, he deliberately left a big stack of his pamphlets there in the temple. And those pamphlets contained the Mayavadi monistic philosophy, you know, all is one, and define the meaning of the Vedic scriptures. You know, because as I said in the previous verse, these Mayavadis, they feel that they're on a superior path of spiritual life, and that everyone else is just inferior. And then, so this Mayavadi was thinking, you know, I'll just leave my big sack of pamphlets here, and maybe these devotees will catch on that there's something higher than Krishna consciousness. You know, this whole Mayavadi philosophy. So next afternoon, you know, Prabhupada, he met with the devotees, and Prabhupada's practice was to receive a big plate of cut fruit and nuts. So he would take he would pop a few bits of fruit into his mouth and eat them, and then he would indicate to the devotees to distribute the rest. So on this particular day, Prabhupada, he asked for those pamphlets, those Mayavadi pamphlets with the Mayavadi philosophy written on there. And the devotees were like, you know, what's Prabhupada doing? Now, he's always taught us about this Mayavadi philosophy, how bogus it is. Now he's asking these pamphlets to be distributed to all the devotees. Now, why is Prabhupada calling for these Mayavadi pamphlets? So when they brought the pamphlets in, Prabhupada said, distribute one of these pamphlets to each of the devotees. And by this, the devotees are completely bewildered. You know, oh my God, Prabhupada's giving these pamphlets Mayavadi philosophy. Then Prabhupada said, everyone take a pamphlet, open it up and put it in your hand. Then Prabhupada took a few bits of fruit in his mouth, and he indicated that the rest should be distributed. He said to the devotees, you should use these pamphlets as plates. One devotee mentioned later that Prabhupada was practicing Yukta Viraga by his simple act. He finding a useful purpose for the pamphlets while simultaneously ridiculing the Mayavadi author and his philosophy. Yet at the same time he was engaging him in devotional service. It's Prabhupada's genius. Yes. So certainly we see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he wanted to show mercy to these foolish Mayavadis. He wanted to engage them in devotional service, despite their being so offensive, even criticizing Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally, blaspheming him. We see Lord Chaitanya, he was so tolerant, he was so humble, he was so forgiving. I mean, he exhibited his humility. You know, when we think about we read about this, the humility of the Supreme Lord himself. It's like we see Lord Nityananda, classic example. In the spiritual world, Lord Nityananda is the most perfect, supreme personality of Godhead, is worshipped by everyone in the spiritual world. Yet he was bowing down, falling at the feet, with tears in his eyes at the most fallen and wretched personalities, and begging them, please, chant the holy name, please accept the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu exhibiting his humility. He sat down there in the place where people were washing their feet. And you know, this humility was humility is very attractive. Then using his mystic power, he manifested this incredible effulgence. Then the Mayavadis, they stood up. It was like an effulgence of, they said, 1,000,000 suns. They stood up in respect. Then of course they asked him, why do you're a sannyasi, why do you chant and dance in the company of fanatics? You know, meditation and study of the Vedanta, that is the sole duty of a sannyasi. So why are you just chanting and dancing? So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told him, my spiritual master, he just considered me a fool. He told me that I'm not qualified to study Vedanta. Therefore he told me, best you just chant the name of Krishna. And then, because they asked him to speak something on Vedanta philosophy. And then Caitanya Mahaprabhu, every single sutra of the Vedanta Sutra, he explained the defects of Sankaracharya's interpretation of Vedanta Sutra. And when they heard that, they were completely defeated. And they told him that actually we know that this word jugglery of Sankaracharya is a bit devious. And it's not really, doesn't really satisfy. We study it, but it doesn't really satisfy us. And of course we know even Sankaracharya, he told them, don't become too absorbed in this philosophy of impersonalism, that worship Govinda. Of course, many of them didn't do that. They just were so absorbed in this grammar and word jugglery. And of course, after Caitanya picked out every single defect and every single sutra of the Vedanta Sutra of Sankaracharya, then he explained the direct meaning of Vedanta Sutra. Then he got them all to chant the holy name. And so he was very successful in his. So we see, because of time, place, and circumstance, we have to really try and reach people and have an everlasting impression on people, so that they take an interest in this Krishna consciousness, just like these Mayavadi. So this humility is it's a very, when we read in the Bhagavad Gita, there's that verse where Krishna describes all the different things of knowledge, processes of knowledge, like humility, pridelessness, non-violence, tolerance, simplicity, cleanliness, accepting a bona fide spiritual master, steadiness, self-control, all these things, even-mindedness. He declared all these to be knowledge, and besides this, whatever there may be in is ignorance. So these items that Krishna was explaining in the Bhagavad Gita, they include these qualities, and if developed very favourably, they help one's spiritual advancement. So, as devotees who are practicing bhakti yoga, we're like fully engaged in loving devotional service to the Lord, chanting His holy name, and all these qualities, they naturally develop as our mind, intelligence, as our consciousness becomes purified from material contamination. But we also have to make an endeavour to develop these qualities. So out of all these qualities, it's said that the first quality listed is humility. The jewel of humility, is said, is the emblem of a sincerely surrendered bhakti yogi, a devotee of the Lord. And the deeper the spirit of surrender, the deeper the feelings of humility, the deeper the feelings of love, inner happiness manifest in one. So humility, actually it's many things, humility. Humility is one thing, humility is honesty. When we realise that we become so bewildered, so lost in life, we become so bewildered by our infatuation with this material body, this material world, that we no longer realise, who we are or what our real purpose in life is. Therefore, we need guidance. We need help. Many of us may have had this experience before we met the devotees. So it's these stirrings and realizations, they constitute the beginning of this wonderful quality of humility. And the Bhagavad Gita tells us that if you want the best guidance and the best knowledge, what do? We should approach a bona fide spiritual master in a humble, gentle, submissive mood and render service to such a great soul. Then we can be blessed with genuine spiritual understanding. Without such a submissive mood, if you approach a spiritual master you're thinking you know everything, then the process of receiving knowledge will not be effective. Actually, I had this very humbling experience when I first came to Christian consciousness, because I was, back in the 70s, I was caught up in that hippie kind of movement. And actually I was hanging out with some pretty hardcore hippies in those days. And most of them were actually quite intelligent, university dropouts and people studying law and we were into this thing, studying esoteric knowledge, drug expanded consciousness. You've got to come up with your own cosmic philosophy. So I thought, yeah, I've got my cosmic philosophy. I know a lot of stuff. I might be able to teach you Hare Krishnas a few things. I thought this when I first came to the team. And it was very humbling because then after a while, I was like, my God, these Hare Krishnas, they know so much. They got so much knowledge that, I didn't even, what I knew became really like a little tiny spark compared to this huge roaring fire of transcendental knowledge and information. A very humbling experience. And of course, Lord Caitanya taught us in his 8 famous prayers, Shikshastikam, that in a humble frame of mind one can feelingly and effectively glorify and reciprocate with the Supreme Lord when we chant the holy name. That, of course, when it's all said and done, the question that we may ask ourselves is, what does humility really mean to me? Practically. Or how do I get it? Or do I really need humility? People may ask those questions. Does it mean I have to give away all my possessions and beg from others? Some people have this, they're not sure about what humility is. Should I just allow others to take full advantage of me? If someone wants my car, I should just give them my car. Or if someone wants, my allegiance, I should just follow them. If opportunities of success come my way, I should just let them pass me by. If someone's encouraging me to give up my spiritual practices, I should just give them up. Is this humility? And just to become, a complete, humble person and just become like a stick of wood, in the ocean, just tossed around. But as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he said the ultimate, he's the ultimate founder of this Hare Krishna movement. He describes humility as something much more than just an external presentation of weakness, or an action of simply giving away your possessions or loyalty. But true humility happens naturally to one who understands his spiritual position as an eternal servant of the Lord, that all things of this world are actually rightly owned by the Lord, and they should be used in his service. In this way we humbly protect our bodies, we protect our possessions to be used in his service. And we realize that our spiritual life and consciousness, of course, is our greatest asset, even though there may be so many people, and it happens, sometimes your parents, when you first join the Hare Krishna movement, the parents are saying, you're just going to waste your life, you should go back to university. It can even happen sometimes in family life. The husband or the wife, they start drifting away from Krishna consciousness and they try and encourage their partner, let's give up this Krishna consciousness, let's go back out in the world and try and enjoy it. And sometimes the wife drags the husband down, the husband drags the wife. Maybe even your friends. I know myself, when I first joined up, sometimes some of my friends would come round to the temple and they try and encourage you, we're missing you out here, we're having a good time, you guys doing all this Hare Krishna stuff, it's like, why don't you come back out, get back to the real world. And then you have to try and explain to them, actually, this is the real world. So humility is also, it's also gratitude. It's kind of gratitude that, one feels joyful and happy and thankful, always knowing that despite my faults, my unworthiness, my shortcomings, I've been blessed in so many ways. Just this opportunity to take up Krishna consciousness, to read these incredible books of knowledge, just to be able to chant the holy name and associate with devotees. We see, it's just, in the beginning you take it a bit for granted. But actually as you go on in your Krishna consciousness, you really start developing some appreciation of how lucky we are. And like I said, we have to protect our Krishna consciousness. Our Krishna consciousness ultimately is our greatest asset. And whatever happens in our life, whatever adjustment we need to make in our life, we always have to protect this very valuable asset, our Krishna consciousness. And of course we know that Maya, she's a very clever thief. She's going to try and steal it away from us, this most precious asset. She's going to try and steal it away. Sometimes she may get into your ear and try and encourage you to compromise your standards or practices. So we should always be very careful, very vigilant to keep practicing Krishna consciousness very seriously. Develop that spiritual strength to overcome these influences of the material energy. Even our ability to remember the Supreme Lord in the times of trouble. Generally when great tests come, great obstacles come in our life, the general tendency is people take shelter of the mind, they take shelter of their intelligence. Some people take shelter of intoxication or sense gratification. They take shelter of the fallible soldiers of people that can't really help them. But as devotees, when difficulties come in our life, when the tests come, the obstacles, we have to be able to remember the Lord and take shelter of Him, and take shelter of this process of Krishna consciousness, chanting and reading. So our ability to even remember the Supreme in times of trouble, and our determination also to be fixed in our spiritual practice is made possible by Krishna's mercy. Humility is also surrender. My dear Lord, You're the proprietor of my life, my time, my body, my possessions. I completely belong to You. You're in control of what happens to me. I'm completely surrendered to Your will. Just let me do some humble service to my Guru and fellow devotees without any desire for recognition, and let my only desire just to be to seek Your mercy. So just by surrendering our will totally to Krishna's will is the way to develop our natural spiritual humility. As Prabhupada mentioned also, that explained, and he's explained humility means one should not be anxious to have the satisfaction of being honoured by others. So in the material conception of life, it's a fact. One is so eager to receive honour from others. They even, like these Mayavadis, they even proclaim themselves to be God himself. So the first symptom of material disease is a desire for material importance. You know, material vision, success means to amass, wealth, fame, followers, power, influence, prestige. And some people just become so full of their own importance. You see that in the world. Generally materialistic people are very proud of their advancement in education, philosophical speculation, scientific knowledge, possessing material things, having some prestigious position in society. And everyone's proud. I am an Indian, I'm an American, or I'm a Russian, I'm an Australian. And if one is born in a good family, rich family or aristocratic family, he or she is very proud. Or if one is very learned, a great scholar, or if one is very handsome, has a big powerful body, or one is has a lot of money or wealth, or someone is very beautiful, they become very proud. They become so full of this pride. So that one of the results of enlightenment, that one begins to realize one's spiritual identity is just an insignificant servant of the servants of the servants of the Supreme Lord. Therefore one's not proud. One realizes that you're just tiny little insignificant servants. And all these nice qualifications and opulences, whatever they are, wealth, education, beauty, intelligence, facilities, just amazing gifts just given to us by the Supreme Lord. Let me engage these things in his service for his pleasure. This is how a devotee thinks. And of course the Supreme Lord, he reciprocates with the sincerity of our surrender. How much we're willing simply to try and please him with a sincere, humble, grateful heart. So in our bhakti school, we're advised we have to learn to discriminate between the materialistic mentality and the pure spiritual mentality. And even if one is proud of being a devotee, or proud of being a servant of Krishna, that's not bad. That's actually glorious. And that leads to liberation. But if one becomes proud of being a big man or a big woman of this material world, that leads to one's entanglement and degradation. So ultimately, we understand that Krishna, he doesn't like to see the devotees proud. He accepts everyone's service, but he doesn't like to see one devotee thinking himself better than others. Krishna doesn't like that. And there's so many examples in our Vedic history just to teach us that pride is an unwanted anatta. The story of Lord Indra, lifting a girl downhill. He thought he became so proud of his position as king of the heavenly kingdoms that he was thinking himself the supreme personality of God, and he wanted to devastate Vrindavan. He was thinking, who does this Krishna think he is, telling these cowherd men that they should forgo my yajna and worship Govardhana and cows and Brahmins? Who do you think he is? He's nothing but a talkative child. Over-talkative child. And then of course when Krishna lifted Govardhana hill, and of course when he came back to see, he wanted to see the whole of Vrindavan inundated, devastated, all the people dead, cows, everything destroyed. But when he came back, he saw the whole of Vrindavan and Govardhana, he was just glistening. You know, by Krishna's mystic power, as soon as the rain hit the ground, it evaporated. And then he saw Krishna. He lifted this whole hill. I mean, he just, on his little finger. You know, when it started pouring down rain, you know, raindrops as big as pillars, everyone came running to Krishna. Krishna, save us, save us. Then Krishna, by his mystic power, he stopped the rain. If he didn't want to get his turban and his dirty wet, he stopped the rain, jumped off his veranda, he ran over, picked up Govardhana hill, and that started raining again. Amazing. You know, and you know, underneath that hill, it wasn't just like all dirt. Underneath Govardhana hill was this incredible valley with beautiful grasses, barley grasses for the cows to eat. It was self-illuminated by incredible jewels, and there was like flowing streams and beautiful lakes, and there was like all these beautiful fruit trees and gardens of flowers. It was like a spiritual paradise underneath that hill. Of course, Lord Brahma and Bali Maharaj, even the gopis, they became proud. And Krishna disappeared. So ultimately, pride is something, you know, you cannot really hang on to. You know, it's like, actually even Prabhupada said, you know, if a devotee, it's pretty heavy actually, but he said if a devotee is just really fixed and attached to this pride, and then sometimes Krishna will just really smash him, really humble them, just pull the rug from under them. And the reality is, in this material world, we're always being humbled in some way or other. You know, the Supreme Lord and His agents, material nature, have their ways of humbling us, don't they? Every day, you know, people are constantly humiliated by the world around them. You know, let down, hurt, betrayed by loved ones, exploited, cheated, threatened by natural disasters like this huge epidemic that's taking place now. You know, frustrated in so many ways in their plans for happiness. Because, you know, Krishna has his ways of reminding us that ultimately this world is not our real home. So Krishna, you know, he loves everyone, you know, and he simply wants a deep and meaningful exchange of love with devotees who give themselves happily and willingly and humbly in loving devotional service. And it's actually, the reality is, unfortunately, it's we who withhold our love for him out of pride and ignorance. I'll just finish there. Does anyone have any questions they'd like to ask? Anyone have any questions? Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai.